Vauxhall Stadium, Ipswich, where conditions are absolutely perfect for one of the most intriguing individual meetings of the British Speedway season, the Golden Sovereign. It's a meeting that's been called the unofficial Under-25 World Championship. In fact, only one rider here, Billy Sanders of Ipswich, is above that age limit, but nevertheless it's a truly world-class field. 16 riders have been seeded into 2 groups of 8, and it's the first group that contains the top seeds. 6 riders will qualify for the semi-finals from this group, and it contains a fascinating confrontation between 2 men who've become great rivals in the last few weeks. Kenny Carter, the English #1, and Dennis Sigalos, the in-form American from Ipswich. 2 men will qualify from the second group, but this contains last year's winner, Mel Taylor, and 2 intercontinental finalists in Phil Collins and Lance King. Each group rides 8 heats before the semi-finals, and to describe the action, Dave Lanning.
And right from heat 1 we should have some needle, because we have Kenny Carter, England's #1 and explosive with it, against his old rival Dennis Sigalos. These 2 clashed tempestuously a couple of times last year. Honours about even, so we'll watch for those 2. It's really world-class lineup here in heat 1. On the inside it's going to be Mitch Shearer from New Zealand and Reading, and he's a dark horse. Next to him, Carter, always a controversial figure here at Ipswich. Grid 3 has Simon Wigg, the new English wonder boy, and on the outside Sigalos, the home specialist. Heat 1, perfect conditions for racing, and it's an even breaker from the inside. Shearer's gone away, Carter's gone with him. Carter spread-eagling Wigg at the first corner. Sigalos is last. There's a surprise, so it's Shearer. Well, we didn't say what's out for him. Carter's in second place. Third place it's Wigg. And here comes Kenny Carter trying to force a passage down through the inside of Shearer, and Sigalos is beginning to open up the throttle at the back as well. Trying the inside run. He's a very, very tough customer, Mitch Shearer. So long at Coventry, moved to Reading during the winter, and Sigalos has moved through into 3rd place, we note. There's a battle up front. This is Shearer. Carter attacking him on the inside, and I think he might have the drop on him as they come into the last lap. Shearer still holding him out. Good first heat again. Carter trying the inside run, almost overcooks the corner, and that allows Shearer to pull clear. And again, here comes Carter through on the inside, and Shearer swinging back inside him, and on the line, Carter by half a wheel. Shearer's second, Sigalos is third, and that's a fine opening heat. So the last lap of heat 1, and the fine example of an old adage in Speedway that you cannot allow Kenny Carter an inch. You see, he almost loses it here, and it was odds on Mitch Shearer up front just gliding home. But as they hit the last 2 corners, Shearer just made one little mistake about here. In came Carter, and although Shearer intelligently switched back inside and almost got the run up to the line, you'll see as they go over the checkered flag, Kenny Carter hanging on by just half a wheel. Well, coming into heat #2 in Group 2, it's surprising to find the holder in amongst what might be termed the lesser lights. This is Melvin Taylor, of course well-known East Anglian, started his career with Mildred Hall, still lives down that way. Now with Kings Lynn, he'll be in the yellow and black helmet on the outside in heat 2. An interesting looking heat again. On the inside, Preben Eriksson, the Danish star from Ipswich. Next to him, Phil Collins, who rather stunned the Speedway world by winning the overseas final of the World Championship. And that was a meeting with both his elder brothers, Peter and Les. More illustrious went out. Grid 3 has Nigel Flatman, another witch. And on the outside, Mel Taylor in yellow and black. Here we go for heat 2. Taylor has made the start from the outside. Taylor gets to the corner first. Second place is Eriksson. Third is Collins. And here comes Eriksson down the inside. Sweeps past Taylor. Taylor fighting back around the outside. But it is Eriksson as we move into lap 2. Second place Taylor. And Phil Collins in close order. And not too far behind Nigel Flatman either. Left again. Oh, Taylor has pulled out. It looks like he might have lost a chain there. So that sorts out the action here in heat 2. Still Preben Eriksson. Remember, only 2 go forward into the semi-finals from this second group, and Phil Collins chasing hard. He's got all the Collins clan grit and determination to rise. Never knows when he's beaten, and he's fighting hard here against Preben Eriksson. And the inside, they're onto the last lap. Remember, just 300 metres, and here comes Collins. And that was a bold move, really forced his way through. So Collins it is who wins it. Second place Ericsson. Third there was Nigel Flatman. And Phil Collins there, who made a pretty poor start, came through the field to win Heat 2 in the most determined style. Well, really no stopping Phil Collins. This is the pass on the last lap. You can see Kevin Ericsson's in front there, but Phil Collins shown tremendous determination, just sweeps down the inside. And really, Ericsson hardly knew what had hit him or where it had come from, and that makes Phil Collins look a very dangerous contender in this second group. Moving on to Heat 5 of this 1983 Golden Sovereign here at Vauxhall Heath Stadium, just bathed in evening sunshine. Really is perfect conditions. And Heat 5 is indeed another fascinating one, because we have what might be termed the most successful riders from the opening heats of Group 1, most successful riders in points. An interesting lineup then. Let's look across from the inside. On the inside, Hans Nielsen in red, 2 points. Next to him, Billy Sanders in blue, 3 points first time out. Grid 3 has Kenny Carter, equally a race winner in his opening outing. And on the outside, Mitch Shearer, second place to Carter in his first ride. Heat 5 with the big guns really booming. The best of starts, and it was Sanders who made the best of it. He gets to the corner for a second place is Nielsen. Carter and Shearer together, and up front it is Sanders who takes advantage of really a flying start, which left Kenny Carter rather. Nielsen is in second place, but Billy Sanders, the oldest man in the field at 27, really roaring away up front, and there's daylight developing between him and Hans Nielsen. And the same can be said about the distance between second and third, because Carter has not made any inroads at all on Nielsen. Well, it is Sanders in front. He has lost his helmet colour, so don't be confused about that. It should be a blue, but clearly it is Sanders up front, the Ipswich lad who has 3 times won this event before. Here's Nielsen, there's Carter at the back, there is Mitch Shearer, and they are rather spacing out here in Heat 5. The smooth style of Billy Sanders taking the checkered flag. 3 more points for him, 2 for Hans Nielsen, 1 only for Carter. And really that one was won and lost at the start, because it wasn't the best of starts, but Sanders was the one who took advantage and never looked in any danger after the first corner. Dennis Sigalos coming into the action in Heat 7, of course, such a big favourite here at Vauxhall Heath. The lanky Californian, world number 3, of course, in the Los Angeles World Final last year, reckoned by many to be the anti-post favourite. Hasn't been in the peak of form recently, but has attributed that to a troublesome wisdom tooth, which he's now had removed. So we'll look for him, because he needs points, only 1 so far. He's in the Grid 2 in the blue helmet colour here in Heat 7. On the inside, Simon Wigg, no score. Then Dennis Sigalos, 1 point. Grid 3 has Steve Redgeling in white with 1 point. And on the outside, Eric Gunderson, who too has not yet scored, and they're awfully impatient. Again, now Gunderson has a flyer. Oh, what a start from the Dane. He gets away. Second place, it is Wigg, and Sigalos is in awful trouble. He's allowed Redgeling to go through into third place. There is Eric Gunderson, and Sigalos coming through from last to second, sweeping past Simon Wigg in no ceremony stood upon at all. But Sigalos really seems to be in terrible trouble on the first and second corner. He's almost lost it a couple of times. We'll watch it again as they come into lap 3. Gunderson leads it now. What will Siggy do here? Because he's picked up some drive, and this time it was Wigg who looked to be in a little bit of strife there, but they are settling down. Coming into the last lap, Gunderson, who needed points, had a very disappointing opening ride. We know he's a fighter, this lad from Cradley. In front now, and Sigalos, although he's done well to move up into second place, is not going to catch the Dane. So 3 points for Eric Gunderson, bringing him back into the reckoning for semi-final qualification. 2 for Sigalos and 1 for Simon Wigg. Well, as we look around the crowd here enjoying the sunshine, there's a figure we know pretty well. That's Alan Littlechild, for so long part of the administration at Kings Lynn, basking in the sun and enjoying the speedway amongst the lads on the terraces. And next to him there, unless we're very mistaken, on the left, is in fact the Milden Hall promoter, Bernard Clatt. So we have some celebrities here in the audience at Ipswich this evening. So the two riders who at this moment have not made the qualification cut, that is Steve Redgeling with 1 point. He'll be in the red helmet here, and Simon Wigg. That is rather a surprise. Simon Wigg on the outside. There he is from Cradley, lives in Newport Pagnell. Grass track star in yellow and black, only has 1 point, so they'll both be looking for points here in Heat 9. A quick look across the complete lineup. On the inside, Redgeling seeking points, one only. Next to him, Mitch Shearer in blue, and he's only 1 point above the cut line at the moment. He has 2 points. Grid 3 has the uncompromising Hans Nielsen on the outside. Simon Wigg will be looking for points as well. Heat 9. That's a fine start from Wigg from the outside. Wigg gets away. Going with him too is Redgeling. Redgeling in second place. Here comes Hans Nielsen going through the eye of a needle. Oh, tremendous cornering from the Dane. But Wigg, rather as we fancied, moves clear, but really left a hole for a bus to go through there, and Nielsen accepted it gratefully. So Hans Nielsen sweeps from third to first. Who said it's all about gaining in Speedway? Second place, Wigg battling hard. Third place is Shearer. Wigg and Nielsen locked together here up front. Midland rivals, of course. Nielsen based at Birmingham, and Simon Wigg in second place here. Across the Midlands at Cradley Heath in the Black Country, coming into the last lap. Just 300 metres, 328 yards around Foxhall Heath. Hans Nielsen will be looking for these 3 points, which almost should ensure qualification. He's always there or thereabouts, this Dane. He's from Jutland. He's called Brost. He wins Heat 9. Second place Wigg. Third place Shearer. At the back Redgeling. How you can go from last to first in a lap in Speedway. Keep your eye on Hans Nielsen, the rider in white. You can see he's squeezed out at the start here. Now he's last, and he pounces like a piranha fish there down the inside. Simon Wigg in front. Nielsen really making his move. Now here's Wigg. Now Wigg swings right out into the dirt, and you could drive an Ipswich Corporation bus through there, and Hans Nielsen says thank you very much. Last to first in a lap. In Group 2, they've all had 2 starts, and Lance King and Phil Collins look like being the 2 to make it at this stage. So all 4 riders here. Jeremy Doncaster on the inside, Trevor Ericsson Grid 2, Neil Collins Grid 3, and Nigel Flatman on the outside really need points if they are to maintain their hopes of qualification for the semi-finals. Doncaster on the inside, Ericsson has 2, Collins, Neil has 3, and Nigel Flatman on the outside has 2. Here we go for heat number 10. And again, the outside grids are the lively ones, although getting up quickly, it was Ericsson who made a lot of ground up to the first turn. He leads it. Second place is Neil Collins. Third is Doncaster. At the back, it's Flatman. Ericsson, though, the Dane, who puts himself about a bit at the first corner, lacking nothing in courage, this lad. Second place, Neil Collins. Third, Doncaster. Looks like opening his account, but it could be too late for him. Who's made East Anglia his home. Bit of a character, this lad. Sells clogs on the side and also old armour and ancient weapons. So, well, as Collins, oh, look at that, wheelie down the straight. Neil Collins almost went the length of the back straight on one wheel. Must have lost a bit of ground doing it, though. Trevor Ericsson over the line, 3 points. That'll do him well. Neil Collins is second. Third is Jeremy Doncaster. Well, let's have a look at the spectacular Neil Collins. They say he's the wheelie king of the 5 Collins brothers. He's in second place here. This is the last lap. Now watch him go. How far did he go on his back wheel? Oh, he managed to get it down, but Ericsson goes clear. And although it was spectacular, it certainly didn't help his case. Looking the calmest and most composed young man in the stadium, Lance King, group leader of the second group, unbeaten on 6 points, and looking very, very confident. Dennis Sigalos, who says he hasn't really been sharp at the tapes for 3 weeks and he hasn't made a start yet tonight. We'll watch him here in Heat 11. He's struggling a little, it must be said, on 3 points from 2 starts. But his teammate, Billy Sanders, in the white helmet, who'll be right next to him on the grid here. Here's Sanders, has looked immaculate, unbeaten on 6 points, 2 race wins. And in here, just to spice the brew on the inside, we have Eric Gunderson, who has picked up the pieces rather from a disappointing start, won his last race, and Kenny Carter on the outside, and well, there's never a dull moment when this young Yorkshireman is about. This is Carter settling down, watching for the green light to know when he's under starter's order, then concentrating on the tapes. Here we go for heat 11, Carter, and Sanders again has shown. Sanders, or who is it? It's Gunderson. There's Sanders coming roaring around the boards. There's three of them in line, and it's the local riders, Sigalos and Sanders, who shows. Coming hard on the inside, it is Carter who goes down. Just out of our picture there, Kenny Carter overcooked the corner. He is down. I think he's okay. There he is, back on his feet. So he'll be annoyed with himself for dropping a clanger like that. But it is Sigalos in front. Second place is Sanders. Third is Eric Gunderson. And now the showmanship starts. Well, an eventful heat 11. But if Dennis Sigalos can stay up front, these points will virtually assure his semi-final qualification. Billy Sanders, his Ipswich teammate, beaten for the first time, provided they stay this way around his last 300 metres or so. So Sigalos looking a little more like his old immaculate self, winning heat number 11. Second place, Sanders. Third, a long way back, Gunderson. And Carter, well, he has to take the long hike back to the pits. There's Kenny Carter. His pride, if nothing else, bruised. Eventful first lap here. We can see the start, and it is Sanders in grid 3 who shows first. And coming hard on the inside, it's Gunderson. They watch Dennis Sigalos as Sanders goes to the outside and Sanders on the inside. Gunderson really gets bewitched there. And as they hit the bottom corner, you can see Sigalos moving through on the inside of Sanders. Now we look back for Kenny Carter because he's coming hard under Gunderson, and suddenly he hits a patch and he's in all kinds of trouble. Turning right around, Gunderson did well to miss him really. Carter, Kenny, you're going the wrong way, and he steps off almost elegantly. Heat number 12, and this really is the opportunity for the top scorers in Group 2, because we have the unbeaten Lance King in white, just a beam of the tapes. This is Lance King, 20 this month. And he's in with his main opposition, really, from this grouping, because Paul Woods on the inside there in red has 4 points, and Phil Collins has 4 on the outside of him, and only 2 go through. And just in there, again, to make life interesting, Melvin Taylor, the holder of this Golden Sovereign in blue, having had a disappointing first ride with an engine failure, won his last ride. So these really are the big 4 from Group 2. Here's Heat 12. Into the corner, it is Woods who shows. King is in second place. Third place is Taylor. Coming hard around the outside is Phil Collins, but it's Woods in front. Now Lance King. Now what can the American do from the back? Trying to find the hole down the inside, and Taylor ran almost over the top of him. So Woods impressively going away here in Heat 12. King is second, third, now Phil Collins. And this will bring the lanky southerner up into reckoning for one of those qualification places. Mistakes when he is in front. Paul Woods going over the line into the last lap. King still chasing hard. And King was way on the boards there and almost left the hole for Phil Collins. And Collins does not look gift horses in the mouth, coming through on the inside of his Cradley partner, not just getting up. King just holding on there, so a little bit of a flurry in the last lap. No doubt about the winner though, Paul Woods. And that takes him on to 7 points and might just be the crucial heat for him. So just going into the last lap, we can see Paul Woods untroubled up front, but all of a sudden Lance King in second place found himself with one wheel in the air, just about here. He's up and holding on. Phil Collins sees his chance back in third place, but as he tries to pick up some drive, he does a wheelie as well. Just a little bit of fun and games on the last lap there.
Welcome back to Ipswich, where we're nearing the climax of the qualifying stages of the Golden Sovereign individual meeting. And leading the seeded Group 1, the old man of the field at 27 years old, Billy Sanders. Two have to drop out of this group, and in greatest danger, Steve Regeling, Mitch Shearer, Simon Wigg, and indeed Kenny Carter, the England #1. And two go through to the semi-finals from Group 2. At the moment, it looks like Lance King and Paul Woods, but also in there with a chance, the Collins brothers and Ipswich's Preben Eriksson. We'll return to the action with Dave Lanning.
We have the bookends here on the inside and outside. The Ipswich pairing, their spearhead Dennis Sigalos on the inside has 6 points. Billy Sanders has 8. Billy Sanders leading this group. He's in yellow and black in grid 4. So once again, from the inside, Sigalos, next to him Regeling, then Mitch Shearer, on the outside Sanders, and it's the meat in the sandwich, the riders in grid 2 and 3, who are the two who are seeking points desperately here in heat 13. But it is the Witches who show. In front, Sigalos coming around the boards. It is Sanders, Shearer flourishing on their back wheels, and Regeling tailed off at the back. Sanders leads. Sigalos is second. Shearer is third. And the two Wonder Witches having a dice up on their own up front. Now, there are certain people within Speedway who believe that these two could make it a 1-2 for the Witches in the World Final. That's in Northern, of course, in September, as you can see on ITV. Sigalos has been the anti-post favourite, although it's glad to be said that his form has just lost its edge in recent weeks, which might just be a good sign, because he can pick things up for the World Final. Sanders, well, he has looked immaculate all season. He really has found a rebirth of life since rejoining the Witches. And it would be no surprise if he made the rostrum again in the World Final. He was, of course, third in Gothenburg in 1980. Here's Sigalos, who's going to win heat 13 on his back wheel. Second place Sanders, third was Shearer. Regeling will surely be out now. And Shearer will be sweating a bit, but no doubts at all surely that the two Witches, Sanders there on the right, and rather Sanders on the left and Sigalos on the outside, will now both go forward to the semi-finals. And so heat number 15, the last qualification heat in Group A, the top seedings. And it's a pretty simple picture really as we come into heat 15, because Simon Wigg here in the blue helmet colour needs a second place, 2 points. And Kenny Carter, he'll be on the inside in red, just preparing himself there. He just needs a third place to put Mitch Shearer and Steve Regeling out of the semi-finals. So those are the issues, and that is the target for the two riders in heat 15. Carter and Wigg must have surely worked it all out to know exactly what they need to do. And Kenny Carter has had a mixed night really. Started looking like he was a world beater. Won his first ride from the back, then had a pretty lacklustre third place and fell last time out. So he'll be anxious to get back on blob here. There's Carter in the car business now. In Yorkshire, we hear he's driving around on a roller. Certainly powers like one when he's in the mood. He's on the inside. Wigg is in grid 2. Eric Gunderson is in white. And on the outside, we have Hans Nielsen in yellow and black, who has 7 points. So Gunderson really needs a point here as well, just to make sure. And away they go. And it could be Carter who squeezed out at the corner. It is. There's a surprise. Coming around the outside is Nielsen. Second place is Gunderson. In third place it's Wigg. And Kenny Carter really got elbowed out of the first corner. And we wonder if we have a sensation on our hands, because Carter, remember, needs a point. Going away up front, Nielsen. Second place now Gunderson. Third place is Wigg. And Wigg needs 2 points here, really, and he's battling hard. Back into second place, Carter still at the back. And closing up now on Gunderson. And there's some drama here as the curtain goes down on the qualification heats. No doubt about the winner and the leader of heat number 15. It's Hans Nielsen. And Gunderson has dropped to the back as Wigg goes into second place. Carter is third. And this could mean that Gunderson will need a run-off. No doubt about the winner. Nielsen wins it. Second place, Wigg doing enough. Carter really having to work hard to go through, and Gunderson in last place, and the computers now will come out. Well, the moment that avoided a very embarrassing evening for Kenny Carter. He's at the back here. You can see him in the red helmet colour now. He has to get up here to make sure of qualification. Simon Wiggs in second place. In third place, it's Eric Gunderson. And Kenny Carter, England's #1, had to get a third place to make sure of going forward. And, well, he saw his opportunity there, really roared through. Hans Nielsen in front, Wigg in second place. Carter is third, they all go forward, and Gunderson, by our reckoning, on a better race record, goes through in preference to Mitch Shearer.
I think a lot of people might be surprised to see you struggling to qualify. Have you been had problems with form down here?
Well, I fell off in one race, so that's like 3 points gone, so I'm just happy to qualify and hope I can win the meeting in the end up.
Yeah, things are going to be different in the semi-finals.
I hope so.
Into the last qualification heat in Group 2. Remember, just 2 go forward from this group. Already there is Lance King on 10 points, and there Paul Woods in white. This lanky Eastbourne Eagle knows he needs a second place to go through with Lance King, because he is now on 7 points. Phil Collins on the inside needs a win. He has 5 points. He's in red. Nigel Flatman, I really think we can discount here in blue. He has 2 points. Neil Collins, too, has a total of 5 points. So Neil possibly might do something, though he hasn't had a race win, and that might count against him. So we'll watch for Woods in Grid 3. And from the outside it is Neil Collins, and Woods has switched direction brilliantly there around the first 2 corners. He leads it. Second place there is Phil Collins. Third is the rider in yellow, that's Neil Collins, and well, Paul Woods knew his target. He's setting sail now. Woods in front, then Phil Collins. Third is Neil Collins, and the back it's Nigel Flatman. So it looks as though Paul Woods, providing he does nothing silly, will go into the semi-finals, and he is the man who has already beaten Lance King in this group. And way out onto the boards there went Phil Collins on the top corner. Woods is a much improved rider this year, although his side Eastbourne Eagles have been struggling at the foot of the table. He has been a big success story, has been capped for England, and he makes it look easy. Certainly not a spectacle merchant, but very, very effective. Paul Woods just half a lap from a place in the semi-finals, and that's when the action should really get thick. Over the line, he wins it. Second place there was Neil Collins. Third was Phil Collins. So it will be from Group 2, Paul Woods and Lance King going in amongst the big, big boys. So the first semi-final, and it promises to be a battle royal. On the inside, Billy Sanders in the red helmet colour. Then next to him in white, we have Eric Gunderson. He'll be in Grid 2. Grid 3, we'll have Dennis Sigalos. He'll be in blue. And on the outside, Paul Woods, the second qualifier from Group 2 in yellow and black. That is the lineup. Remember, the first 2 go to the final, and there'll be no holds barred from now on in. Here's Woods, tall order for him, in with the world-class stars. Here we go for the first semi-final. And who it is will break. Sanders from the inside. Gunderson gets a knock there, coming hard around. It's Sigalos, and it's the Ipswich pairing, giving him the old 1-2 at the moment. So Sigalos leads. Sanders is second. Third is Gunderson. Woods is at the back. And home track advantage really paying dividends for the homesters. And Sigalos, who started the meeting not looking on peak 4, is growing in stature as the meeting unfolds. Sanders rather just content to hold on to second place. Looks as though Paul Woods has moved up into third place, overtaking Eric Gunderson, who has been a disappointment, the Dane. This is the last lap. And the Ipswich crowd rise to their favourites, Sigalos and Sanders, who go forward into the Golden Sovereign final. Well, poor old Paul Woods on the outside really had a harsh lesson in with the big boys here. You'll see at the start of this first semi-final, he gets away well enough, but watch Dennis Sigalos in Grid 3, as he moves up on him and shifts him over in the most ruthless way, and Paul Woods' Golden Sovereign ended at that moment as the Witches carved up the first semi. So the second semi-final, Lance King, the other qualifier from Group 2. We wonder if the same fate will befall him as his compatriot Paul Woods, who was really brushed out in no mean fashion. But King is a pretty tough old competitor himself and doesn't so easily get shoved around. On the inside there, Hans Nielsen. Well, he's a quiet man. Got to watch him all the time. He's always there or thereabouts. Let's look at the lineup across from the inside. Hans Nielsen, red. Grid 2, Kenny Carter, blue. Grid 3 has Lance King in yellow and black, and on the outside, Simon Wigg in white. We have 2 home riders through already. Dennis Sigalos and Billy Sanders. Who will go with them into the final of the 1983 Golden Sovereign? And all Carter seemed to anticipate it well, and Carter's away, and so too is Nielsen, and Nielsen and Carter together as they all bunch up. Nielsen leads it, Carter is second, in third place it is Wigg, and at the back at this moment it's King, and oh, look at them ducking and diving, Wigg and King together. Cradley Heath, teammates, and standing on little ceremony, is getting a little torrid out there. Going really hard, Lance King trying, bursting a gut, and really losing ground there, coming back into last place. Nielsen still leads it, Carter is second, and the 2 heathens in the back are having a battle royal as they begin to settle down and space out. Well, Nielsen, you must fancy he could be the man to threaten the witches, because he's gone about his business in the most professional way, and he's going to win this semi-final unless the bike does something unpredictable. Nielsen it is, with the leg hanging out in the wind, as they say. He wins it. Carter will go with him. Third place in the end, Lance King shaking his head. Here is Nielsen, and is he the man to challenge the big 2 from Ipswich? It could well be. We'll see in that final in just a moment. Tremendous action in the first lap of this second semi-final. Carter's moving, no question about that, as the tapes go. Almost catches him by surprise. Nielsen rears up, makes his ground up to the corner. You can see King makes a pretty fair first turn, then loses out as Wigg comes through. And they all really bunch up here. And it's Nielsen who pulls clear. Carter is second. King is rather blocked, and that lets Wigg through on an inside run. There's the first 2. They just keep their eye on Simon Wigg, as he grabs a handful of throttle and nearly knocks Lance King up the terrace steps. Oh, whoosh, through there. And, well, they're on a knife edge, aren't they?
So we now got the final lined up, and heading it, the old man of the quartet, Billy Sanders, going particularly well tonight.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty determined, you know, because 2 years isn't a real lot. I'm 27, and they gave me, I suppose, special allowance to ride in the meeting, which I was very grateful for. But I'm pretty determined to put it over these young blokes. I don't know how I'll go, but, you know, I'm out there trying anyway.
Is experience counting for much?
Well, I've got a little bit more experience than these blokes. I've been doing this since I was 16, but I see I'll get a little bit better every year, you know, and hopefully one year I might be able to put it all together and win a world championship. I never know. That's what I'm aiming at anyway. But I'm pretty happy with how things are going tonight.
Right, we'll let you get ready for that final. The final which features Hans Nielsen, Kenny Carter, and that Ipswich pairing of Dennis Sigalos and Billy Sanders. Let's rejoin Dave Lanning.
And so who will be the winner of the Golden Sovereign 1983? The Speedway prize at gains and values. They really are genuine sovereigns, and they will increase as the years roll by. Dennis Sigalos is perhaps the slight favourite, having picked up his form. He'll be in grid 2, but inside him, and the draw has been fortunate for Hans Nielsen, he'll be on the inside, and he really is the big threat to the Ipswich pairing. Although Kenny Carter, who could ever write him off, he'll be on the outside. There is Nielsen inside. He is in the white helmet, remember. Next to him, Dennis Sigalos in red. Grid 3 has Billy Sanders in blue. On the outside, Kenny Carter, who was third last year, in yellow and black. There is Carter. Sanders has won this award 3 times previously. There he is in blue. And while we know there'll be no love lost between the 2 witches as we come into this final. One of the most prestigious and coveted prizes in World Speedway, and certainly in East Anglia, as they settle down, and they will be taking their time as the kidology and psychology starts. Are going to have to come up. Here goes Carter. Oh, the fun and games is starting. The fun and games is starting here, and the referee, who is Graham Brodie, one of Britain's senior and most respected officials, will surely not tolerate any gamesmanship in this way. Carter's gone back, so too has Sanders. The start will be so crucial. And Kenny Carter is complaining that his visor has come adrift, and I think it may well have done too. Saying, please, can you sort it out? There's surely no way he would have done that deliberately. certainly holding up the start, and the other riders will throwing it away. Let's hope he gets in front and doesn't get filled in. So here we go, the big final. Inside Nielsen, next to him Sigalos, grid 3 Sanders, outside Carter. The start is going to be oh so very vital. The atmosphere is electric. You can almost put your hand out and touch the atmosphere as they settle down. They're under starters' orders. And away they go, and it's Nielsen from the inside and Carter from the outside as they hit the first corner. Nielsen leads it. Second place, it is Carter. Third is Sigalos, and Sanders at the back, and the Witches have missed the start. And the crowd here really screaming at them, but it's Nielsen, the man we feared. This workman-like Dane in front, Carter going hard after him. Carter trying the inside, the Witches are in third and fourth places as Sanders tries to challenge on the inside. This is the leader up front, Hans Nielsen, who is a tough customer to catch when he gets in front. 2 laps to go. Carter still really grabbing great handfuls of throttle in second place, but gaining very little on the Dane, who is riding an immaculate line. It's going to take a superhuman effort from Kenny Carter to get by. Into the last lap, just 300 metres to go. Disappointment for the Ipswich crowd. And Nielsen coolly moving away as Sigalos threatens for second place, but it's going to be Hans Nielsen surely. We'll see him over the line. Has done his job in the most workmanlike way and takes the Golden Sovereign. Second was Carter. Third was Sigalos, but Nielsen, well, he doesn't make a fuss. He's unobtrusive, but my word, he's effective. The inside grid draw so important for Hans Nielsen. Just watch this start. They're straining at the leash like greyhounds. Away they go. It's a pretty even break, but up to the first corner, Nielsen just gets the drop. Carter hasn't quite got enough horses, can't get across, but Nielsen is in front, and really, it's all over bar the shading.
Hans Nielsen, Golden Sovereign winner, many congratulations. Really, you went consistently well all night.
Yes, it was a very strange way of riding a meeting tonight. It was quite different to what it used to be. I mean, it used to be all on 5 rides each, you know, and then you just add the points together. But tonight it was all on the final, and that probably makes it a little bit more exciting.
But you're a bit of a specialist at these individual meetings. You've won here before, haven't you?
Well, yeah, I won here at the Star of Anglia last year, yeah. The first time. I've been like between the first 3 for a few years now, but last year I got the first spot.
Looking back at that final, do you think there was an element that Kenny Carter and Dennis Sigalos were looking out for each other and ignoring you?
Well, I don't know. I didn't see them at all, you know. I was just out there in front, so I didn't worry about them. I just tried to stay in front all the while, and that was it.
I did that very well indeed. What plans have you got for the Golden Sovereigns? You going to spend them?
Well, I don't know, you know. I haven't decided yet. I might buy a windsurf or something.
You're pretty good at that as well, eh?
Well, I like it, yeah. It's a good hobby.
I bet you go fast at that too. Many congratulations anyway.
Thank you.
So there we are, our Golden Sovereign winner, Hans Nielsen. We'll let him go off and decide what he's going to do with the Golden Sovereigns. From us all here at Vauxhall Stadium, good night.